Good day everyone, senior high school student. Statistics and Probability, Week 3 Guide, Variance and Standard Deviation of Discrete Random Variable. So this will be our third edition of our It's Module Time. So to begin, let's start with the first question. For question number 1, compute the variance of this frequency distribution. By the way, senior high school student, ang task sa atin ngayon dito is to solve for the variance of the frequency distribution. Yung nasa module natin, especially on the lesson proper, ang hinahanap natin doon is variance and standard deviation of probability distribution. See the difference between the two. So to begin, I have a table here and then meron tayong mga given scores doon. So refer to your module to verify yung mga scores natin. So I have the scores or the random variable x such as 2, 5, 10, 15, and then 20. So for the next column, you have the number of students. So you have 5, 2, 6, 4, and then 3. The next thing, after determining the scores and the number of the students, you have to multiply the value of the first column by the second column. So ang gagawin nyo lang, multiply 2 by 5, 5 by 2, 10 by 6, and then up to this part. So multiply 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 10 is 60. Then 15 times 4 is also 60. And then 20 times 3 is 60. So after completing yung part na yan, next thing na gagawin natin is to solve for n. So in order to solve for n, ito, gamitin natin tong consider this given column. So combine the value of the number of students or for the value of f or the frequency. Combine nyo lang yung 5 by 2 by 6 by 4 by 3 and then you will arrive with 20. So meaning to say, you have a total of 20 students here. Next natin, after determining that part naman is you have to get the summation of f of x. So meaning you have to get the summation of the third column. So combine 10 by 10 by 60 by 60 and also 60. Then you will arrive with 200. So ganun lang din yung gagawin natin. Next natin, for step number 1, ito pala yung actual steps natin on how to get the variance of the frequency distribution. Next part is to compute for the mean. So to solve for mean, you have to consider the value of n or the frequency, total frequency, and also the summation of f of x. So ganito lang siya. I have my formula here. So divide yung value natin, yung na-solve natin for the summation of f of x as 200, then divided by 20, then you will arrive with 10. So meaning, ang mean natin dito or average natin of the sum of the given score is equal to 10. For step 2, subtract the mean from each scores and square the result. So, step by step muna tayo. Dito muna tayo sa una. You have to subtract the mean of each of the score. So, anong gagawin natin? So, consider the first column and yung value natin, solve for the mean, itong part na to. So, to start, again, consider natin yun nandito. So, you have the scores, 2 minus the given mean. Di ba yung mean natin is 10? So, 2 minus 10 is equal to negative 8. Next natin, subtract 5 by the given mean. So, ganito lang din yung gagawin. So, 5 minus 10 is equal to negative 5. Then, third one, 10 minus 10 tayo. So, for 10 minus 10, you will arrive with 0. Then, yung pang-apat naman natin, 15 minus the mean or 10. 15 minus 10 is equal to 5. Then 20 minus 10 naman yung kasunod and then you will have 10. So nagawa na natin yung first part of step 2. The next thing na gagawin natin, syempre, we have to transfer this given value to the fourth column. So meron tayong negative 8, negative 5, 0, and then 5, and then 10. Next thing natin is to square the result. In order to square the result, you have to multiply the given by itself. Itong part na to. Consider the fourth column. Next natin, of course, for that part is negative 8 raised to 2 or squared. You will have negative 8 times negative 8. So you will arrive with 64. Then next natin, you have negative 5 squared. Then you will have negative 5 times negative 5 or 25. So ganun lang din yung gagawin natin for this part up to the last part. So you will have 0 raised to 2. Then 0 times 0 is equal to 0. Then 5 squared is equal to 5 times 5 is equal to 25. And then 10 squared is 10 times 10 or 100. So ito part na to, we will transfer this given answer to our fifth column. Ginawa lang natin, we multiply yung fourth column natin by itself. So to come up with 64, 25, 0, 25, and 100. So next natin, for step number 3, you have to multiply the result of the corresponding frequency and add the result of this given solution. So to begin, dito muna tayo sa first part. You have to multiply the result by the corresponding probability. So ang gagawin muna natin, consider the value for the second column and multiply natin with fifth column to solve for the sixth one. So ganito lang yung gagawin. Next natin, so you have to multiply again yung second column by fifth column. So 5 times 64 is equal to 320. Then 2 times 25, and then you will have 50. 6 times 0 is equal to 0. Then 4 times 25, and then you will have 100. Then last one, 3 times 100 is equal to 300. So yung magiging value natin for the given column, yung pang-anim natin. So you will have 320, 50, 0, 100, and 300. Next natin is to add the result of the sixth column. Ito kasi siya eh, itong part na to. Add 320 by 50 by 0, 100, and then 300 to get the summation. So yung value natin is equal to 770. So yung sixth column natin is equal to 770. Next natin for step number 4, compute the variance using the formula. So I have the formula. Ito kasi yung ginawa ko, I consider two situation. Let's say yung given natin is a sample and another one, I will consider yung given natin as a population. So for example, we will use this kind of formula. Then substitute lang natin yung given answers natin. So for this part, di ba, nakita nyo tong part na to. This is the summation of the sixth column. Then yung n natin, you have to consider the summation of the number of students or yung frequency natin. So for that, madali lang naman siya. So you will have 770 for the numerator. Then divided by 20 since you have 20 students minus 1. So you will have 770 over 19. Then next thing is to divide. You will have 40.5263 in the nearest I approximate my answer to at least 4 decimal places. Next natin for population, meron lang siyang konting variation in terms of the result or the formula. So consider the formula pa rin for the upper part. Ito pa rin yon, yung summation natin for the sixth column, and this time around, instead of subtracting 1 to our given value of n, so ang mangyayari, n lang talaga siya as in. So substitute the value of the sixth column or the sum of the sixth column by the value of n, which is 20. So 770 divided by 20 is equal to 38.5. So yung answer natin for step 4, ito na yung magiging ano natin, variance. If population, you will have 40.5263. If population, you will have 38.5. And then for step number 5, you have to interpret the result. So the variance of the frequency distribution is 40.5263 if the given data represent a sample, then 38.5 if the given data represent population. Next natin, question number 2, find the variance and standard deviation of the probability distribution of the random variable x, which can only take the values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, given that the probability of 1 is equal to 0.10, probability of 2 as 0.15, probability of 3 as 0.15, probability of 4 is equal to 0.20, and then the probability of 5 is equal to 0.40. So the same approach, you have to construct a table. Then consider the following given. Itong nandito. So for the first column, consider the values from 1 to 5. Itong part na to. Ayun yung maging value ng random variable x natin. And then for the second column, consider the values for each of the probability. So meron tayong second column as the probability of x. So consider 0.10, 0.15, 0.15, 0.20, and then 0.40. Ito na po siya. Next natin, for the third column, you have to multiply yung values natin for the first column by the second column. So multiply nyo lang itong dalawa. Ito rin, up to this part, again dito. Then you will arrive with 1 times 0.10 as 0.1, 2 times 0.15 as 0.3, then 3 times 0.15 is 0.45, 4 times 0.20 is 0.8, 5 times 0.40 is equal to 2. Next na gagawin natin is you have to consider this formula. Diba sabi nga natin, itong value na to, yung summation natin for the third column is also equal with the mean or the expected values. So combine 0.1 by 0.3, 0.45, 0.8, and then you have 2. And then you will arrive with 3.65 as the mean. Ito na po yung mean natin. Then for step 2, consider the values of x and the value of mean. So subtract lang natin siya. So you will have 1 minus 3.65, yung value ng mean. So you will arrive with negative 2.65. Next natin, yung values naman for 2 up to 5, subtract natin dito. So isa-isa lang siya. So you will have 2 minus 3.65 as negative 1.65. 3 minus 3.65 is negative 0.65. 4 minus 3.65 is equal to 0.35. Then 5 minus 3.65 is equal to 1.35. So ito na siya. Next natin is you have to transfer our answer for step 2 for column number 4. Ito na yung mga yon. So meron kang negative 2.65, negative 1.65, negative 0.65, 0.35, then 1.35. Then for step 3, anong gagawin natin for step 3? We have to multiply itong given natin by itself. Consider the values of fourth column to get the fifth column. So multiply yung negative 2.65 by itself. Then you will come up with 7.0225. Then next natin, itong part na to. So negative 1.65 raised to 2 is equal to 2.7225. Then negative 0.65 raised to 2 is equal to 0.4225. Then 0.35 raised to 2 is equal to 0.1225. Then 1.35 raised to 2 is equal to 1.822 and 5. So transfer nyo lang siya for this given column, for fifth column. Next natin, for step number 4, you have to multiply yung value natin for the second column by our values for the fifth column to get the sixth column. So multiply lang natin to. So itong part na to, yung 7.0225, multiply mo lang siya by 0.10, and then you will arrive with 0.70225. Next natin, itong part na to, multiply nyo siya by 0.15, and then you will have 0.408375. Multiply this by this given. So you will arrive with 0.063375. Then multiply yung part given natin, itong dalawa na to, to get 0.0245, and then lastly multiply this given to get 0.72 and 9. Next natin is to transfer our answer for step 4 dito sa last column natin. But this time, para hindi tayo mahirapan, we have to express yung answer natin with 4 decimal places. So I have to round up yung mga answers natin from this part up to the last part. So paki-round up na lang. So by rounding up, ito yung mga maging result. So you will have 0.7023, 0.4084, 0.0634, 0.0245, 0.7290. Dito nagdagdag lang tayo ng 0 to make it 4 decimal places. Next natin for step 5, you have to use the formula for variance and syempre for standard deviation. So this time you have to combine all the values for the sixth column. to arrive with 1.9276. So, 4 decimal places ulit siya. So, this will be the value of the given um, probability distribution for the variance. Next natin, for standard deviation, consider the value of the variance. Ito yung variance natin. And then, since we are looking for standard deviation, you have to get the square of both sides. Kunin natin yung square root. So, get the square root of both sides. Then, you will arrive with the value na lang natin for standard deviation. Then, equals, get the square root of 1.9276 as 1.3884. So, last part natin for step number 7, we have to interpret our result. So last one, the variance of the probability distribution is 1.9276. Ito siya. Then, and the standard deviation is approximately 1.388 then 4. Ito po siya, itong part na to. Next natin, example number 3. By the way, yung example number 3 natin is just an alternative way or procedure on how to get variance and standard deviation. Itong part na to, consider nyo yung last video ko, yung in-upload ko na prior to this video. So, a box contains 5 balls. 2 are numbered 1, 1 is numbered 3, and 2 are numbered 2. The ball are mixed and the one is picked at random. After a ball is selected, its number is recorded and the same ball is returned in the box. After the recurrence of the trial, calculate the variance and standard deviation of the numbers on the ball. So ito yung representation natin on that given problem. So ito, skip ko na muna yung ibang steps kasi napakita ko naman na ito with my first video. So these are the values of x, yung 1, 2, and then 3. Ito yung mga numbers ng balls natin. And then, for the probability of x, we have 2 over 5 for number 1. Consider nyo lang to, itong term na 2. And then you will have 2 over 5 pa rin. Consider nyo pa rin yung nakalagay na 2 are number 2. And then lastly, 1 over 5, ito naman, yung 1 is number 3. So, meron tayong 5 as denominator since we have 5 balls. Then I just simply convert this given into decimal. Di ba meron na rin akong binigay sa inyo na video on how you will convert given fraction to decimal by simply dividing the numerator by the denominator. Ito yung mga result, 0.4, 0.4, and then 0.2. Then next natin for the third column, multiply nyo lang tong 1 by 2 over 5, yung 2 by 2 over 5, 3 by 1 over 5. So you will have 2 over 5, 4 over 5, and then 3 over 5. So next natin is you have to solve for the expected value or the mean. So paano po siya? Add nyo lang itong mga to. Itong nasa third column natin. So 2 pips plus 4 pips plus 3 pips. Since similar fraction sila, you have to copy the denominator and just simply add the numerator. So, yung 2 plus 4 plus 3 is 9, then copy the denominator of 5. So, 9 divided by 5 is equal to 1.8. So, meaning, yung problem natin na ito is 1.8 as the mean. Next natin, itong part na to, ito yung hanapin po natin mamaya. By that, we will get the summation of this given. Next natin for our solution, we have to multiply, since nakalagay nga dyan, di ba, x squared times the probability of x. Ang gagawin lang natin, we have to multiply the values of x by itself and then i-multiply nyo lang with the value of the probability of x. As much as possible, ang mas maganda siguro, you have to multiply the given by yung conversion natin into decimal. Kasi pag fraction, medyo mahirap. So this part, ito yung value ng x natin, di ba? You have to raise yung 1 as 2. Then, copy natin tong 2 over 5. Nasa inyo naman kung ano yung mas madali. Pwede rin naman siyang ganito. So, you will have 1, then times 2 over 5. Then, you will have 2 over 5. Next natin, 2 raised to 2 as 2 over 5. Dito, ang ginawa ko, fraction muna. Pero kung tutusin, you can answer this using decimal na naman. Walang problema. So, 2 raised to 2, ito yung part na to. So, you will have 4. And then, meron tayong 2 over 5. And then, 4 times 2 over 5 is 8 over 5. Last one, itong part ng 3. Multiply the given by itself. So, 3 squared times 1 over 5. Ito yun, no? So, you will have 9 times 1 over 5 or 9 over 5. So, ito yung mga answers natin in fractional form. So lipat ko lang siya. You have 2 pips, 8 pips, and then 9 pips. So next thing na gagawin natin is you have to get the summation of this given column. Add lang natin tong lahat. So you have to add 2 over 5 plus 8 over 5 plus 9 over 5 as 19 over 5 or 3 over 8. Meaning itong summation nung last column natin is equal to 3.8. And then consider this alternative formula. Kung tutusin, pwede naman na yung una kong diniscuss, but if gusto nyo itong gamitin ng formula na to, wala naman din problem. So for this part, this is the symbol used for finding the variance. Itong part na to, ito yung summation ng fourth column. Itong part naman na to, ito yung value natin for the mean, and then you have to square lang naman or multiply it by itself. So ang mangyayari lang, diba since sa-solve natin tong fourth column as 3.8, lipat mo lang siya dito, minus yung value ng mean natin as 1.8 since naka-raise siya by 2. So you will have 1.8 raised to 2. Next natin is 3.8 minus 3.24. Then the value of our variance is equal to 0.56. Verify nyo na lang siya dun sa first video natin. Then next natin, to solve for the standard deviation, consider the value of variance as 0.56. And then get the square root of both equations. So meron tayong SD or standard deviation equals to 0.7483. Then lastly natin is we have to interpret our result. So the variance of the probability distribution is equal to 0.56 and the standard deviation is approximately 0.7483. So that's all, senior high school student. So thank you for watching. Stay safe and God bless.